And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith God, I will pour out of my Spirit upon all flesh. And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And on my servants and on my handmaidens I will pour out in those days of my Spirit, and they shall prophesy. And I will show wonders in heaven above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before that great and notable day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved.
Hello and welcome to another segment of A Spirited Debate. I'm Lauren Green, Chief Religion Correspondent for Fox News Channel. Does God use the motion of the planets to communicate with us, to announce things to come? Well, many people believe that an astronomical occurrence called 4 blood moons is a message from God. A blood moon is a full lunar eclipse, and 4 of them in a row is called a tetrad. When they've occurred on the Jewish High Holy Days, it's coincided with major historical events, like the Six-Day War in 1967. 4 blood moons on the Jewish High Holy Days has happened only 3 times in the last 500 years. The next time it occurs is starting next spring on the Jewish Passover. Pastor Hagee has written a book called 4 Blood Moons, Something is About to Change, and he joins me now. This is fascinating because I get a lot of books about end times prophecies and what's the Bible trying to say, and this one really fascinated me because it charts history of astronomical occurrences, the Jewish High Holy Days of Passover and the Feast of the Tabernacles, and these occurrences. And I want to go over just a couple of the things that have happened, because it's only happened in 3 times.
3 times in over 500 years.
In 500 years.
And this is confirmed by NASA. This is not something that a religious think tank put together. This is something that you can check on the internet. This is what NASA says has happened, and this is what they say is going to happen.
This is, and we have a full screen up, and it's exactly what I did when I saw your book, because I wanted to verify that these things had happened, and sure enough it was. That's why I wanted to have you on. 4 blood moons have occurred in 1493-94, fall of Spain. The Jews expelled from them, and Columbus discovers America, what the Bible calls is the infant nation.
Right.
1949 to 1950, it follows Israel being declared a nation.
State.
And then a nation state. And then 1967, 68, the Six-Day War. Those are the last 3 times that 4 blood moons have occurred.
Right.
And so the next time it occurs actually is starting next spring.
Starts April the 15th, 2014, next spring, and it happens on Passover. The second blood moon next year will be October the 8th on the Feast of Tabernacles. And then in 2015, it will happen again on Passover. And then it will happen the last time, September the 15th, and that will be on the Feast of Tabernacles. The irony of what it takes to get the sun, the earth, and the moon in a perfect alignment to have a blood moon, and then for those blood moons to be on this exact date is something that just is beyond coincidental. The Bible very clearly says, Joel the 2nd chapter says, the day of the Lord will be as when the sun refuses to shine. The significant thing is that between these 4 blood moons will be a total solar eclipse, and the moon will be turned to blood. That is exactly repeated in Acts the 2nd chapter. It is repeated by Jesus Christ in the book of Luke, the 21st chapter, when he said, you will see the sun, signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. And when you see these signs, lift up your head, your redemption draweth nigh.
So you're saying that this next 4 blood moons that's starting next spring, is this the end times, what we're looking for, or do you not know what is being communicated with this?
Technically, prophetically, the end times began with the outpouring of Pentecost 2,000 years ago. So we have been in the end times when you believe the dispensational 7-day period of time that equates to the 7 days of generation. There are 7 ages and dispensations. We have been in the end times a long time. But when we are reaching that point in time when world history is about to change, we are entering that zone, and it's going to change forever. It's going to change dramatically, and it's going to involve Israel, because it has involved Israel in 1492, 1948, 1967. And each time it has gone from tragedy to triumph. 1492, as you said, the Jewish people were kicked out of Spain with the Edict of Expulsion by King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. America was discovered, and the Jewish people had a home until Israel became the state. In 1948-49, Israel was a state. The thing that preceded that was the Holocaust, a time of tears and tragedy. 1967 was the Six-Day War, and then Jerusalem became a part of the state.
But what do we know what it's going to happen? I mean, we get a lot of prophecy, a lot of end-time prophecies. I get the books a lot, but there's no telling what is actually going to happen. I mean, you could not have predicted a Six-Day War. You could not have predicted a lot of the things that happened after the Second World War with the, with the partition for Israel. Is there any way to predict actually what's going to happen, and will happen after the last four blood moon, which would be in 2015?
There is a sequence of prophetic events that the Bible says will happen, but it does not give a when. It just says, when you see these signs like this, lift up your heads and rejoice, your redemption draweth nigh, meaning that the end of this age is coming and the Messianic age is going to appear. How long is that? No one knows.
Well, it's a fascinating topic, and I urge people to not only check out your book, but also check out what's on the internet, because there's a lot of stuff about four blood moons that people can check out for themselves and see what they think. I mean, there are a lot of people who have just poo-poo any kind of end-time prophecy. There are a lot of theologians that say that you can't predict what's going to happen. But the fact is that this is an astronomical occurrence that did occur, that happened at this time, and that the next one is going to start happening next spring. So it's fascinating. And one last thing, though, for the first time in history, I believe Hanukkah is on Thanksgiving.
For the first time in thousands of years, and it will not happen ever again.
Is that part of what's changing in this world, too? God's trying to communicate with us something, or is this not even related?
Well, I can't address that because that's not something I've researched. But I have researched this backwards and forwards. And the concept that these four blood moons happen on a high holiday 4 times in a row with a solar eclipse in the middle is beyond the null hypothesis of probability. This is something that the Bible, using the sun, the moon, and the stars as a communication system to humanity, says something is about to change, and world history is going to change forever.
Well, the book is called Four Blood Moons, and something is about to change. Pastor John Hagee, thank you very much for being on Spirited Debate.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
All right, and thank you very much for joining me.
Joel chapter 2.
Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong. There hath not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap. Like the noise of a flame, of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. And they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? Therefore also now, saith the Lord, turn ye even to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning. And rend your heart, and not your garments, and turn unto the Lord your God. For he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repenteth him of the evil. Who knoweth if he will return and repent, and leave a blessing behind him, even a meat offering and a drink offering unto the Lord your God? Blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly, gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children and those that suck the breasts. Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. Let the priests, the ministers of the Lord, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say,
Spare thy people, O Lord, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, Where is their God?
Then will the Lord be jealous for his land, and pity his people. Yea, the Lord will answer and say unto his people,
Behold, I will send you corn, and wine and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith. And I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savour shall come up, because he hath done great things.
Fear not, O land. Be glad and rejoice, for the Lord will do great things. Be not afraid, ye beasts of the field, for the pastures of the wilderness do spring. For the tree beareth her fruit, the fig tree and the vine do yield their strength. Be glad then, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in the Lord your God, for he hath given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain, and the latter rain in the first month. And the floors shall be full of wheat, and the fats shall overflow with wine and oil. And I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten, the cankerworm, and the caterpillar, and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you. And ye shall eat in plenty, and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God, that hath dealt wondrously with you. And my people shall never be ashamed. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and none else, and my people shall never be ashamed. And it shall come to pass afterward, that I will pour out my Spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my Spirit. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and the terrible day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord hath said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord hath said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call.